following podcast was brought to you by the members of the Casino Skunk Secret Society. For just $1 a month, you can unlock every audio and video episode available instantly. And don't worry about any commitments. You can quit at any time. So for just $1, you can download every single episode and then bounce out. Just head to patreon.com/casinoskunk. Welcome to the Casino Skunk Secret Society, episode 63. I am Ralph, and today I'm talking about The Mandalorian, episode 4, Sanctuary. And today I am joined by Chrysanthe Tan.
I'm so glad you said my name correctly.
I think I've listened to enough Star Wars Minute, and I'm sure that they get it right, so I try to get it right.
Yeah, they get it right, but I'm sure the first time, they probably were like, crap, we only know you from, online, so don't know how to say your name.
I'm glad I got it right, because it's, yeah. I can see how it's problems. It may have been problems, growing up. My last name is 4 letters. It's A-P-E-L, and a lot of people say Appel, which is fine. Some people say Apple, which I don't like. But yeah, it's Apple. But I've never really corrected anybody my entire, unless they ask me. And then some people will ask, is it right to just call you Apple? And I'm like, totally fine. Totally fine. Whatever gets you to remember to not say Apple is 100% fine with me. So yeah, I can't imagine, it's, yeah. I'm sure you've discussed it many times before and don't want to talk about that. Many
times, but I feel like even short names are mispronounced a lot. And even Star Wars names.
Right.
Or, just different pronunciations are sometimes valid depending on if the person accepts it.
Yeah, and even George Lucas calls things different things.
The Leia thing always really tripped me up.
Yeah, Han.
Really trips me up.
Yeah. And then we have, where do you stand on Imperial Walkers? The 4-legged ones.
Oh. Are you talking about the at debate with Imperial Walkers versus... Yeah. I think it's a silly debate.
It is.
And, I grew up saying AT-AT.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, I grew up saying, AT-ST, AT-AT.
Okay.
Well, I would say Chicken Walker and AT-AT.
Huh.
But, then when I learned that at was actually a thing, then it wasn't really that... I kind of say both. I'll say AT-AT out of habit. Imperial Walkers, if you just don't want to deal with it, I guess. But yeah, I don't have a problem with at. I think it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And I think it's hilarious that there were AT-STs in this episode.
Right, and I was halfway...
And they called it AT-ST, and people are freaking out.
I was halfway expecting them to call it a Chicken Walker, because I remember growing up it was called the Chicken Walker. I don't know.
Oh, they did they not say Chicken Walker in the episode? Maybe I just made that up, because in my head I was like, oh, it's a chicken. Every time I hear AT-ST, I just immediately convert that to Chicken Walker.
No, I don't know if they've ever said it in any movie. Maybe something in the Clone Wars might have said it, but I think it might be something where it was on a toy or in some sort of book. But I knew him as AT-STs, but also Chicken Walkers.
Yeah.
But knowing Jon Favreau's love of the original trilogy, I'm surprised they didn't just drop a Chicken Walker in there. But it's, if you say Chicken Walker, then you have to assume that there's chickens in the Star Wars universe, which is they have shrimp,
there are,
right? And
I think there are a lot of pseudo things I think it's not out of the realm of possibility,
right.
Especially considering there's things like milk and bread. It's not necessarily the same kind.
Yeah.
But, they're not exactly reinventing the wheel with every single item.
Right. They're not speaking English. They're speaking basic, which then gets translated to English.
Right.
So when Panaka says we're sitting ducks, he's probably saying some other thing, but it's being translated for us to understand.
Oh, that's a good point.
But there's some things in this show where she can't just say I'm going to get you a cup of soup. She says a splunk chick or something. I don't know what she says, but it's
Wait, I thought it was Okay. This was one of the are you talking about the bartender at the very beginning?
Yeah, they use like space
my
names.
Gosh. Okay. I thought she was basically saying, I'll get you a flask of vodka.
Uh-huh.
Is that not? Like, okay, because he asks for bone broth, which is super, like, what we have too.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I'll throw in a flagon of spotchka.
Yes.
That sounds like alcohol. And flagon, is that a Star Wars name, or is that?
I have no idea.
I don't know the world of like.
I know the movies inside and out. And I watched Rebels.
Okay.
I watched half of Clone Wars, but it was kind of boring for me because it mostly turned into, at least the season I was on, turned into more of diplomats and Senate stuff, and there wasn't any clones or wars going on. So it kind of...
Well, I guess what I'm asking is not necessarily, is it a Star Wars thing, but is it like a thing that in English we say flagon? I know flask is this thing. There's a flask. There's a... whatever other alcohol names are.
It kind of sounds German. I don't know. Flagon sounds more like like you said, a flask or like a stein or like a.
But did they make that word up, or is it like also an earth?
I'm assuming they made it. I don't know. I could be wrong. It might be a different.
Because it really sounds convincing. It could. I wouldn't really have blinked an eye if someone said that here. Flagon of. I'd be like, oh, okay, that. I guess that's a thing I just didn't know about.
Yeah, I didn't know
either. Okay.
But it all sounded so spacey to me and kind of, I don't know, like sci-fi jargon to me, which is weird because we're talking about how like the word duck or chicken would be translated to English from basic. So that wouldn't make sense. So I'm assuming it's a made-up word that wouldn't have an English sort of counterpart. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, yeah, well.
All that stuff weirds me out. All the kind of like sci-fi talk kind of puts me off. Like
to me that wasn't super sci-fi to me. To me it was almost like spotchka sounded so close to like vodka and scotch that is what really threw me off. That it was like
what's
I don't know, it sounded very like Russian or something. Like it sounded like not quite Star Wars. Like I think out of the episode, the things that bothered me the most were like the word spotchka, and that was like one of the things that I remember. I just don't like that word.
Well, what's funny is it took me out of it a little bit because it sounded like such a space word. But in the movie Solo, Woody Harrelson's character Tobias orders a brandy, and it's so weird because it's like it's just brand. So it's like I don't think it's the same thing that we have on Earth, but it's stupid. It's just storytelling, and I don't know why. Like you talk about the AT-AT debate and how silly it is, but here we are talking about space drinks, and it's so weird because
it's the type of thing where we just have to say yes and like okay, that's the choice they decided to do. Don't let's not think about it too hard. But I just something about the word spotchka it was jarring, that specific word,
because it's so foreign, and then it gets stuck in your head and you're like, okay, is that something important? Is that something I've heard before in Star Wars?
It wouldn't have bothered me if it was like were like brandy maybe, or just something that was so overtly not, but the fact that it did seem like a space term, but it sounded so like they didn't really try too hard. I was just like they just changed a couple letters. That's what it was. Right. Like commit to the space term.
Well, I was interested to see if she was going to give it to him and if we'd see how he eats or drinks, because he can't take the helmet off.
Well, we saw later in the episode.
Oh, he does take the helmet off
to eat.
Yeah. But we don't. Yeah, I guess so.
I was wondering too, because in public, what is he? I kind of expected that he had like some sort of a like hole he could open up by his mouth.
Like a straw, maybe a straw in his utility belt.
Yeah, something like that, because it actually was like more jarring to me when he took his helmet off to eat. I was like, whoa. Well, I mean, I know he's got to like take his helmet off to sleep, I guess, but I didn't realize he took his helmet off that often.
I mean, he doesn't. He doesn't have to take it off to sleep, because we see him sleeping on the speeder. True. But what's weird is he does it in front of a wide open window. And they just got done with a conversation saying how he can't show anybody else his face. He could take his helmet off, but not in front of anybody else.
See, I saw that though. I saw it as a deliberate timing where maybe he's thinking about what it would be like. Like, I think he's testing fate there a little bit. I think he's
Right.
walking on the wild side when he takes his helmet off in front of the window, sort of like to feel out what it would be like.
Right.
Um,
I
because I think he is more careful normally.
right. He's got like, I think that since he decided to go back and take the child after receiving the bounty, I think he's kind of on the fence of being a Mandalorian or not. And I think taking his helmet off in the window is him kind of, yeah, testing. He's kind of, he wants to see what it is. It's almost like how you have like certain serial killers who like try to leave enough clues because they want to get caught. It's almost
Yeah.
like he wants to get caught with his helmet off, but he's not committed to it yet. Like I don't, I like it. There's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird episode in that this is the first episode where we have like unmasked female characters, and
Yeah.
he immediately falls in love with the first one he sees, kind of. Well, not really. I guess he sees
I
Cara
feel
Dune
like it
first.
wasn't
But was it? I mean,
kind of bartender.
the music led me to believe that it was more of a love scene, like she.
Yeah. I didn't like that too much. But I mean, I just think we don't know her enough to
Right.
have that really earned
Right.
yet. But I also don't necessarily think he's really in love with her so much as like he just met his first woman and something like more like that, where he's kind of more, he's he's fantasizing about like the idea of it all.
Right.
I think.
He sees this place. She's kind of giving him an out as far as taking his helmet off and leaving his life. He sees that I've been calling him Yiddle, but little Baby Yoda is happy there. It's a good place for him to grow up. It's it's a good place for him to settle down. Like he said, the what is it, planet Sorgan?
Yeah. Sorgan.
It's not overly populated. There's no spaceports. It's pretty much a great place to kind of live out the rest of his life. And she kind of brings that up as far as, when she tells him like, when's the last time you took that off? And he says when he was their age, and he points at the kids. So it could be just a moment. I don't think it's necessarily a more like a love scene so much as it is he's enticed by the thought of being able to live this quiet life.
Yeah,
Happy.
exactly.
I think the music does the scene the disservice because it sounds to me. I don't know if that's what it sounds to you, but the music. I know you're a musician. And
Yeah, I actually posted a comment about that like last night
Okay.
in whatever one of the Mandalorian Facebook groups. Like the music was super distracting for me there because it was so on the nose with like this is like a love thing, and it was like
Yeah.
with guitar and like a woodwind, like I think oboe or something too. I was just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, and then like
this is quite a thing.
this wasn't like I've been on board with the score on the first 3 episodes. This episode, it completely diverges from what has been kind of been done before. The music to me sounded like a Legend of Zelda game, like a fantasy sort of game with the flute and the guitar. And I don't know if you got
Well,
that.
the flute stuff has been in all of them, I feel.
Right.
I mean, with TV, I guess there's not going to be as much variation just because the theme is going to have to be really really driven home. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way you're going to forget that theme.
Yeah.
It's in everything. It's woven throughout the whole show. But the pacing of like that lull moment, and like just the slow pacing of the music in that scene. I think maybe it was echoing, though, the episode of how kind of it was more of a stasis episode.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the music's lighter, and this is like the first environment we've seen that's in like a forest. We've so far just been in harsh environments with like rocky terrain, or sort of kind of like a cooled lava kind of look to it, or cracked dust. Like all the terrains have been really, really desert like, and this is like kind of the first lush area. So I guess it would make sense to have sort of the music be a little bit different, I guess, to make it feel more homely, to kind of nail home the fact that this would be a nice place to settle down. I've been a fan of film music since I was a kid. I really don't know much about like I don't know film, like music theory. I don't know much about. I can pick up a couple like on what a couple of instruments are, but I don't know too much about like the process of film scoring. But I felt like the music in this was a little bit too much as far as it trying to make you feel like it was sort of a nice, pleasant place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know is, I mean, yeah, it's what's more important is the effect it was having, which clearly had that effect on you.
Right. And that's coming from someone who pays attention to music a lot more than the average person. So I'm wondering if someone who's just kind of a casual viewer picks up on the music, or if they just let that be in the background, kind of where it sort of kind of should be, but I don't know.
I think it depends on the person, but I think a lot of people might fall into this gray zone of not noticing the music,
right.
But that doesn't mean the music isn't subliminally affecting their take on the scene.
Right.
Which is ideally probably what, the music is doing, is not taking away attention, but just adding to, like people who don't know, this is a wide angle shot, and it's zooming out. Like people who don't know camera angles and like other filmmaking techniques, they might not know what the intention was or really be able to recall what was happening, but the effect might still like have worked on them.
Yeah.
Without them even knowing something happened or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
like I know people talk about the Dutch angles in Empire Strikes Back, like in the ship, like where it show it, whatever, all this stuff that doesn't actually matter. What matters more is what the lay person will see and feel without even knowing that it's happening.
Right. We saw Jojo Rabbit about a month ago, me and my wife, and I noticed the music in the movie. Michael Giacchino did that score. He did a wonderful job. My wife said that she didn't notice it. She didn't notice that the score, which I think is good, because we still cried at the moments you're supposed to feel, and I always like that, and for a movie or a show to be able to do that with me is pretty rare. But when you're kind of in it, it's nice to for me it's always a good score if it doesn't stand out.
Yeah, if I can forget
Right.
the analysis of it and be just moved by it, it's
Yeah.
great. I love that.
Yeah. But this one felt a little less. I don't know, maybe because the previous 3 episodes were so action based. Maybe I didn't notice the scores as much because I was fixated on the action. This episode definitely is a nice quiet episode. I mean, there's a lot of action in it, but it was kind of it kind of gave me time to sit there and pay attention and think and listen. So this episode did one thing, and I don't know. What are your thoughts on Baby Yoda? Because as soon as this episode came out, everybody's been posting the pictures with him with the cup of bone broth. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Baby Yoda in general? I don't think.
Well, in general,
yeah.
I like the kid. I like Baby Yoda's existence.
Is it too cute?
Not sure.
Is he too cute? Because
I don't understand how his clothing is like working on his body. It's just like kind of jarring for me to look at. I mean, it's funny because I don't know a lot about babies.
Okay.
So I don't have much of a point of reference, but
Right.
like, kind of looks like a baby, and the little like the little brown thing that it wears, you know.
Yeah.
Just the way sometimes when the Baby Yoda, which I don't know why we call him that,
No.
like when he stands up or when like Mando moves him with like two hands, I'm just like, I don't know. Does it look fake? Is this like kind of?
Well,
I don't know. It just looks like a doll, which it is.
Yeah,
but it's just.
Yeah, Werner Herzog said in an interview recently that I guess he fell in love with the animatronic puppet on set, and
it's anime. Okay, right.
and
he told
he told the producers that if they, because they were thinking about making him CG, and he said if they make him CG, they're cowards. He said so I think we have him to thank for having it stay a puppet. But it's funny, it's like
I don't mind it. I'm just like I'm just like analyzing it. I don't mind it. It's funny. It's like a point of humor.
Yeah.
To me,
it seems like everybody's on board with it, and everyone thinks it's cute. But I
don't understand how it's gotten to be so blown up. But that's also because I'm not the type of person who like will click on a cute puppy video.
Right. I don't, it's funny. I think what happened was they were able to keep it under wraps.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, actually.
And it's the big reveal of the first episode, and I don't think anyone was even remotely expecting that to happen.
That's a good point. I was not.
And then I think people just couldn't hold it in anymore and just have to talk about it. And it kind of just snowballed. And then they keep putting in scenes. Like in this episode, they put in the scene at the beginning where the baby is pressing the buttons and messing with the ship. And there's something about the Mandalorian kind of pressing other buttons to counter whatever he messes up. And he never really yells at the baby, but he's like, don't touch that. And he'll just pick him up and set him, like move him away from the problem he's causing. So, like, if a Mandalorian can coddle this thing, then I definitely could too. And I feel like everybody's become like this sort of this baby's adopted parents. Like nobody wants to see anything bad happen to this baby.
That's true.
At the end of this episode, we see a bounty hunter with the baby in its sights. And I started getting really anxious because I'm like, we're halfway through the series, and is this what the rest of the series is going to be? Like John Wick style revenge, nonstop kill fest. And I mean, I feel like the way the show is set up, like that could have been plausible. I feel like they could have gone either way.
Well, we still don't know.
Well, they didn't kill the baby.
What may happen? Oh, I mean, not in this episode.
As far as this episode goes, they didn't kill the baby, which is good, I guess. Yes, it's good, but
yes, it's good.
But I definitely was on the edge of my seat. Like they better not do this. Like I'm like I don't know. Now I'm sort of kind of stuck. Like they can never kill the baby. I mean, obviously, I don't want to see a baby killed. In Star Wars, which it can't happen. I don't even know why I thought it would happen, because it is Star Wars, and apparently it's made for kids. I'm definitely an older kid.
Episode 3.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We saw a bloodbath there.
Yeah, and that's the thing is they cut on this episode. You hear the gunshot. They cut away from the baby to do the gunshot sound and see the Mandalorian's reaction. And so you do get like a good 4 or 5 seconds of not knowing what happened. Of assuming.
Well, what's the rating on this? Does it have a rating?
I haven't checked. I'm assuming I think since episode 3, Star Wars has been PG-13. Okay. So I would say PG-13.
But on this series, does it have a different rate? I don't know.
I haven't seen one.
Does TV? I don't even actually know.
I don't know.
TV has the same.
I don't know how streaming works either.
Good point.
I don't think I've seen anything on Disney Plus. I'm sure they say stuff. I think I've seen stuff where it says like violence or something like that, or depictions of tobacco. I've seen a lot on Disney.
Definitely
on Disney show.
Kids are going to be all over Disney Plus, so they've got to have some sort of a.
Yeah, but I don't see them killing Baby Yoda.
But like even people who don't watch the show love Baby Yoda.
Yeah, it's adorable. I remember seeing a thing on Funko where they talk about the Funko Pops, and they did the eyes like a certain amount apart from each other and a certain size to gain like the maximum cuteness factor. And I feel
As
like
they do.
yeah. So there's some sort of like
Baby Yoda looking thing.
yeah, there's some sort of way to create what people refer to as cute. There's a like some sort of a algorithm or something that you can create something cute, and I feel like
Oh, for sure. You make the eyes all big, like you said, the mouth all small. I'm sure, I mean, Baby Yoda's been done a billion times because everything's been babyfied.
yeah,
Like, for cuteness. And, Funko does that a lot, right?
right.
And I'm sure Disney was like, let's make this official. Let's make this official. But people are like really tripping out about Baby Yoda being 50. And it's like, I feel like the biggest criticisms I see of Baby Yoda are just how unplausible it is. Implausible? Not plausible it is that he is 50.
Yeah, but what if like when he was 25 years old, he was like a third of the size?
A zygote?
Yeah.
An embryo?
Right.
In an egg?
He feels.
I mean, yeah, we don't know. I mean, I don't, again, like kind of with the ridiculous Imperial Walker debate, I think this is a ridiculous debate because, I mean, I don't even know enough about human biology and like Earthling biology
Right.
to know for sure that this is impossible.
Right.
And also, do we know that he's actually fit? Like, all we know is hearsay. Like, all we know is that is what Mando heard.
Yeah.
Just that he's 50. But, we don't have confirmation. We don't know for sure. We don't know the age, the species, whatever ages. And I would say that Yoda, adult 900-year-old Yoda, is also pretty baby-like.
Yeah.
So
Size-wise, too. Yeah. Size, but not.
Yeah, so maybe he really is like on track.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It seems like it.
And plus, okay, what is a year in Star Wars with so many different planets and systems?
Right, exactly.
Come on.
So in Solo...
Is there a standard? Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So in Solo, they flash words on the screen after he joins the Imperial Army. It says 3 years later. And I'm like, what's that? 3 years.
It's always
Right.
tripped me out.
There's a line of dialogue in The Force Awakens that you can hear on Starkiller Base. It's kind of over the loudspeakers. And it says something about when they're pulling the energy from the sun. It says that process is going to be complete in like something like 1 hour Galactic Standard Time.
So there is some sort of a
Right.
Okay.
So
I want to see this fleshed out.
Yeah. So I don't know how deep the Galactic Standard Time goes, but I'm assuming, let's say somewhere in the center of the universe, maybe in Coruscant or something, is where they created, where every senator from every system comes and joins together. They probably came up with a Galactic Standard Time there. Because, I mean...
I hope so. I sure hope so, because I mean, come on. There are some... What happens when it's a planet with two suns?
A planet with two suns. Or one planet, it can't be just 3 o'clock on one planet.
Well, they're twins, so I guess that's...
But, I mean, you got, like, a day side and a night side on any given planet. Like, Endor has days and night cycles. So, Galactic Standard Time, if it's 3 a.m., could it be dark? Is it 3 a.m. on all of Endor? Whether it's dark or light? It doesn't. Right. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I just mean in terms of like the standard time period of a year is just.
I'm assuming it's equivalent to ours.
Yeah. So I guess we can assume that anytime someone in Star Wars is talking about a year, they're doing Galactic Standard year length.
Yeah.
Though of course they're not, because there's Outer Rim and there's there's going to be territories that are simply not on the map.
Right.
Like as in the Clone Wars. As in what Kamino wasn't on the or someone erased community.
Yeah,
oh, that
from
was
the
someone.
archives.
Okay, so we don't know that like everyone is necessarily. There's got to be outliers that just aren't really on to the galactic standardized. Anyway, this point, it also really not bothered me.
Well,
made me wonder during when we found out about when we met Maz Kanata. I was like, okay, now I just need to know this timeline situation.
Right. Well, I can say this, since you mentioned Camino, there are theories that the baby is from a cloning facility. The Dr. Persher, who we've met, the dude with the glasses, has a Camino emblem on his uniform. So he could have been incubating for 49 years, or let's say 48 years, and has been taken out of the machine, whatever, the cloning facility machine, taken out, and now he's a 2-year-old boy, but he's been alive for 50 years.
Yes, and if I remember Attack of the Clones correctly, the clones of Jango, they are whatever programmed, designed, whatever it's
created
to age more rapidly,
right?
To age at a different pace. So, if this theory is salient, that Baby Yoda is a clone, then who's to say that his age, his rate of biological aging has not been altered as well?
Right.
Like, it just seems like anything's possible. So I don't even want to give those people who have such a problem with it any credence.
I mean, the fact that Chewbacca's like 200 years old in Star Wars and Yoda's 900 years old in Return of the Jedi, I think we're okay. I don't think it should matter. It's all fake. I mean, like,
oh my gosh, don't say that.
But Baby Yoda being 50, I think is
plausible.
Yeah, it's just
like,
as
why
weird.
Not?
I think we should just accept it.
Yeah. Just of all things to take issue with, just that's not it.
Yeah. In the episode, I want to talk about the ATST for a little bit.
Oof. Okay. So scary.
It's awesome that it's in the show. I don't know if the effects were. I mean, they're great. It's a TV show. I need to remind myself it's a TV show. But the one thing I was curious about is we don't see the drivers.
Yeah. I was curious about that too, and I was waiting for like when the ATST was defeated. I was waiting to see bodies spill out of it or something,
right.
But I didn't. The thing is, it actually reminded me of how I thought ATSTs were when I was a little kid. Because, okay, my first Star Wars were on the re-releases, Return of the Jedi first, and when the special editions.
Yeah, 97.
I wasn't alive during the first ones. Yeah, exactly. And so when I knew about ATSTs in like elementary school, to me it didn't really register that there's Imperial like inside driving it. It's not like, to me it was like a big scary like monster. That's the big. So I thought it was like I remember the first time I saw that there were actually stormtroopers inside of the AT-AT, the AT-AT and the ATSTs. I was like, it just made me reframe them completely. I didn't understand that it was like, that. So the fact that we didn't see people spilling out of the ATST reminded me of my childhood perception of those Imperial walkers, of them just being big ass chicken robots. Oh, yeah. Robot chicken. Wait. Anyway, sorry.
I don't like.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Because what's funny is in Return of the Jedi, like when you see the chicken walker stumbling on the logs, it looks like a living creature stumbling on real logs, and it doesn't look like someone's piloting it. It looks like a robot. In Rogue One, they shoot a bazooka at an AT-AT's face, and it hits it and then kind of turns back and looks at him. Like, is a pilot really doing that?
Yeah.
It looks like a living thing. So in this episode, since we don't see who's piloting it, and then it's got the interior makes it look like it has red eyes. Like, it looks like it could be a drone, but I wonder if that's just because they want to make sure that it's not too violent, seeing the pilots inside there.
Oh.
But it definitely felt more like a
I don't know. I
living
think that would have.
being.
It did feel living. I think
Yeah.
seeing pilots inside would have made it less scary, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I liked...
Instead of giant chicken monster.
Yeah, it definitely was more scary with the red eye. I'm calling them eyes,
It was
even though they're just windows.
terrifying.
But yeah, it was
that
more
night
terrifying.
vision or what?
I don't know. It reminded me of like a submarine, when you see like a submarine movie and they turn off, they go into like dark mode and it's like just red lights inside. I don't know. It looked like that. It could be like a
it
night
was so
vision
scary.
thing, but they're like open windows.
It also could be an intimidation thing. Who knows?
Right.
Maybe it is just for intimidation.
Yeah. And then who knows? Maybe since the fall of the Empire, I don't know if these, what are they? The Clatuians? I don't know if they can rewire an ATST to make it a drone or make it run on its own. But that's what it kind of felt like it, because the way they were trying to bait it into walking into the pool, into the krill pool, made it feel more like a living thing. I feel like a pilot would see that and not want to step in that. That whole thing was kind of weird. Yeah. But I with him throwing the bomb inside the window and exploding it, I feel like maybe Disney was like, hey, maybe don't show people exploding.
Maybe.
So they kind of left it up to us to decide whether it was A, just a robot drone, or B, there's people inside. We couldn't see the people inside, but it doesn't mean they couldn't be in there. So I don't know. The whole thing was interesting. But yeah, that ATST was scary. Like, it's funny you watch like the movies and you're dealing with like planet killers and you're dealing with like these huge stakes and like ton of walkers or ton of ATSTs or, you know, all kinds of countless amount of battle droids. It's nice to have a show where the biggest threat to our characters is just one ATST. It was nice that it wasn't like global stakes. It was nice that it was just kind of a, all right.
Yeah, it kind of takes it back to like one-on-one lightsaber fights, or just like,
or it's
more like battles, not wars.
Or like, you know, when you're a kid and you play with Star Wars toys, you don't have a whole fleet of TIE fighters. You don't have a whole, you know, bunch of walkers. So in your world, when you're playing with your Star Wars toys, which is what Jon Favreau is essentially doing, it sounds like
convenient, because they don't have. It sounds like they don't have the budget for all that personnel anyway.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. And then I was surprised by the end of the episode. Our first credit was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah, which actually didn't mean anything to me because I am not really that familiar with her work, and I didn't even know that was Ron Howard's daughter.
Yeah, I'm familiar with her acting more than anything.
I will be now when I see her, but I don't think I ever really thought twice. I'm not good at like knowing actors.
Right. I thought it was well done. I really liked the episode inside and out. I thought she did a great job. I knew she was directing an episode. I didn't know it was going to be, you know, they don't tell you which ones the directors are doing. Like, I know Taika Waititi's doing one, and I'm interested to see how his is tonally, because he tends to lean more towards the sort of absurd comedy.
Interesting.
So I'm interested in seeing that, but I really liked this episode.
It's very polarizing.
Is it really? I haven't really
this episode.
Yeah, I haven't really been online much to see what people are saying about it. What are people saying? What are the negative things that people are saying?
People are saying it's people are saying it's nothing really happens. I think I've heard criticism about it being very reminiscent of a West, or people have been saying the whole show really has just been like a copy of a Western.
Okay.
Which actually doesn't mean anything to me because I don't know Westerns.
Right.
So I don't know. And I think people just didn't like a lot of the acting in this one. Mm-hmm. And I think people it just basically that it was kind of too stagnant and like And I've heard comments of people saying like this one was for the kids.
Oh, really?
Which for better or for worse, like some people have been defending it being like, well, it's okay that it's a bad episode. It's like the one that's for the kids. And some people have, said that in a worse way. Like that it just didn't feel as yeah. I don't know.
It's funny. I don't know. I feel like you look at like episode 2 and literally nothing happens. He fights some Jawas, fights a Mudhorn, and then him and the baby are back in the ship. Like there's nothing. There's no.
That's a good point. Wait, episode 2 was that the egg?
Yeah.
Okay, well that one had like such a memeable moment that maybe was enough for people.
I guess so.
I don't know.
But it's funny because the rest have just been more action oriented.
Yeah. I think I liked the last episode I didn't feel it was action oriented, but for some reason it felt because I actually don't really like action too much. Mm-hmm. I'm not someone who's drawn to action movies or shows.
Right.
This is definitely the most action thing that I'm watching on TV right now. Mm-hmm. And so when something really catches my attention in like a story built and world building way, I pay attention. And I thought last episode really did that. It was actiony, but I feel like there was a lot of learning about the world.
You're right.
And I just thought the last one was very well directed.
Right.
But episode 4, I actually did not like as much. Uh-huh. Might have been my least favorite, but I do think that we have earned having a slow episode, and I think it was needed. I am glad that the storyline was contained, hopefully, mm-hmm. and that, it maybe we had our resting period, and now the next episode will be, a more earned shift rather than just go, 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 go.
Right.
I think the things I had the most problem with were really, I felt like Mando's identity wasn't really taken seriously.
Like you don't think people reacted as much as they should have when he walked into like the bar?
No, I think it was like certain comments threw me off where, okay, when you're a Mandalorian, like obviously that's like a very serious commitment. Like you don't do it half-heartedly. Like it's a pretty deliberate choice you make, like being a Jedi really. Mm-hmm. And so when Cara Dune is like, what happens if you take the helmet off? And he's like, you can't ever put it back on. She's like, that's it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, see, and like on one hand I get it, like, yeah. But actually when he said that I was like, oh my God, like I was taken aback because that does seem like a big deal to me. Physically it's not, and to someone who's not a Mandalorian and doesn't understand like the seriousness with which you take that on, then I can see how that's like, oh, that's not a very big consequence. Like I thought you were just gonna like be immediately killed or something. But to someone like Mando, mm-hmm. like that's a loss of identity. That's a loss of your history. That's a loss of your community. That seems like a very big deal to me.
Yeah, and it's 2 point of views. So she lives essentially in the middle of nowhere, and it just shows you how I'm not a very religious person. Mm-hmm. I was raised Catholic. So I understand kind of both sides where you can say like, because the Mando treats this like a religion, and he takes it very serious, and him taking this baby is a huge deal to him. But for her, it's like she's not familiar with the Mando way. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of nice to see like showing him that there's another side to this, that they maybe not take it too seriously. I think that's why I didn't like the love theme sort of music in there.
Same. And I also didn't, I thought it was very problematic when the widow, what's her name again? Omera, mm-hmm. At the end was just like, without even asking, just like kind of, they're kind of having a moment, and she like starts to take his helmet off. I was like, what?
Yeah.
You're just gonna start to lift his helmet?
Yeah, that's the thing, is you need to, that's where I see your point, because like, even though I don't believe in religion, and I would never
I'm not religious either.
Yeah, I would never slight anybody else about their religion. I might have questions about it, but I'll never question them or their their beliefs. So yeah, I can see how that is like, it's very disrespectful. Like just reaching up and grabbing it, it's just like, I
That thing
mean,
is sick. He never takes it off. Are you kidding me? You
yeah,
think that's going to be his first? You're just going to casually like lift it off because you think you're having a romantic moment and like maybe want to lean in and kiss him, and so you're just going to take his helmet off for the very first time. What?
And then I feel like they're really trying to make a big deal about this on the show, which is fine. But I hope it's not a weekly thing whether he'll take his helmet off or not.
Oh, right.
Because
yeah,
for me, it's either it's just going to be Pedro Pascal. Like
I don't want it to.
So it's like
funny because I don't actually know who that is, so that I do not know what he looks like.
Yeah, I mean,
but, I don't want every episode to be like, is he going to take it off? Is he not?
Right.
I don't want to just be counting down the episodes until he takes his helmet off.
And then
just let us have a season without it even being a question.
Right. But spoiler alert, he looks like a guy. Pedro Pascal just looks like a guy. So it's not, you know what I mean? Like, unless they do something to him, but we've seen him in the flashbacks as a kid, so we know he's got like a human form. If we're to assume that's what we're seeing, is he's the one that the battle.
Yeah. You're saying he looks like, human.
Yeah, he's just like a
right, at least a humanoid.
So I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter to us as viewers what he looks like, but I feel like it should be a bigger deal him taking it off, but I don't think we need to be reminded of that. I think when it happens, I hope it's to serve the story,
and not for some like love story that we are not like. Maybe if she is like a common thread in many episodes, but it would have been way too soon. So I'm glad they didn't.
I feel like he has to do it to make a statement. He would either have to do it like, let's say he's confronted by the other Mandalorians while he's protecting the baby, and he essentially denounces his faith in front of them. That makes sense, like from a story standpoint. But just taking it off, just to take it off, which is I think why it bothered me so much that he took it off in front of the window.
Yeah,
like literally anybody could turn over and see him. So it's got to be like, I don't want it to be a big moment unless that's what the story is. Yeah, like it's a last resort. It's his last resort is doing this. I think as viewers, we understand that this is very important, and we don't need to be knocked over the head, so to speak, with that information. So we'll see. I mean, yeah, I hope it's not a big deal, because they have another season happening, and does he have the helmet off the whole time? Does he have the helmet on for no reason?
If I had to predict, I would say that he keeps it on at least this season for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going into promo for season 2 with helmet off.
Right.
I mean, I hope not.
And the armor is so striking, and their whole.
And he just bought new armor.
Yeah, and the whole ad campaign surrounding this character. So, yeah, hopefully they stick with it. I don't have much more to say about the episode. We've all gone almost an hour, by the way.
I don't. Those were my main thoughts.
The show's super easy to talk about.
It really is, and I'm like waiting. I wait for each episode. I'm like, oh, when is it coming out?
I know.
I'm gonna watch it at midnight.
And they don't have previews for the next episode, or do they? Do they have previews for the next episodes?
I don't know, but I haven't seen any.
Okay.
If they do, maybe it's in Disney Plus. I'd see, but I don't watch like terrestrial. I don't, I don't tune into live TV, so I just maybe wouldn't see. And I haven't seen it online.
Yeah.
I don't think they do, and if that's the case, then I'm really glad. It's like a true surprise every time.
Yeah.
They do a good job keeping stuff under wraps.
Right. Yeah, it's great, because I watch Watchmen, and they do that at the end of the episode. They show the preview for the next week. Oh, but I haven't seen that for The Mandalorian, but it's kind of nice being able to watch Star Wars with no sort of idea what's coming next. And the fact that they were able to keep Baby Yoda secret, I can't wait to see what else they've been keeping under wraps.
Me too. And I purposely have not been like super researching this show.
Yeah.
Like I haven't been watching, Star Wars Explained or like any
Right.
of that stuff. Because it's so cool to go into it just fresh and being like, I actually don't know why this thing is. And I'm okay not knowing for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's kind of nice that it's on a weekly basis because it's easier to avoid spoilers on, for 6 days as opposed to like Rise of Skywalker, which we've been waiting for like 2 years or so.
I will be so pissed if I get any Rise of Skywalker spoilers.
I know.
I heard that there's like some Target ad that is spoiling a character, and I hope that ad. I hope to God that ad does not enter my feed because I'm probably targeted for it as a Star Wars fan.
I got spoiled on something. And
Don't.
No.
Okay.
No. Like, I'm a good fan. I won't pull your helmet off and reveal everything to you. But
thank you.
Yeah. Where can people find you? Let the folks know.
Well, hopefully you spell my name in your
I'll spell my name
show notes or direct or whatever.
And in the show notes, I'll tag you and have links to wherever you'd like.
Oh, thank you. My name is Chrysanthe Tan on all social media. Just no spaces, no, nothing like that. And I have music on Spotify, YouTube. Honestly, I don't think there's anyone else with my name out there. So if you just look wherever you normally hang out to listen to music, you can find some of my music and videos there.
Yeah, just go to my show notes. I'll have that spelled correctly. So just copy and paste wherever you want to look up music. Thanks for coming on. It was great.
Thanks for having me.
Life Day was fun.
Oh,
next year it's on a Tuesday.
So
I might have just to take the day off and just see if they do it again.
I think you do, and I think we know how to be even more prepared this time.
Right. I'll definitely wear red, for sure. I don't think I'll wear a robe, but
You'll have to keep
red.
me in the know, because you'll probably know some more secret stuff.
Yeah, and it turns out that a lot of people were using the thermal detonator Coke bottles to make the glowing globes. And that's really easy to make.
Really cool.
Because I have...
and I have one at home, too.
Yeah, and I have, like, glowing ice cubes or something, or tea lights or anything.
I have LED thing of lights because I made when I graduated in 2017 for graduation. I held up a like in episode 1 that ball that they hold up. The peace ball. I made myself a peace ball out of a hamster ball, like a chinchilla ball because they're bigger, and I put purple like LED lights inside.
Right.
And held that up at graduation.
Yeah, I bet you if you put some sort of like colored cotton in there, it could make a cool like foggy effect.
Ooh, that's true. That's how I'll have to upgrade it.
I mean, we have a little less than a year, but I might just start making it right away.
and then provide the templates for us.
Yeah.
Please help us.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll set it up. All right. Well, thanks
Good
again.
chat.
And I can't wait for episode 5. Yeah. We're over halfway through. All right. Thanks again.
Have a good day.
McClunky.
Bye.